The cuffs snapped shut around Ethan Ward's wrists, the metallic clink slicing through the humid morning air of a quiet Charlotte, North Carolina suburb. It was June 12, 2024, and two men in ill-fitting police uniforms stood on Ethan's neatly trimmed lawn, their faces smug as they cited him for painting his mailbox a shade of blue that violated the neighborhood's strict aesthetic code. Ethan, a seasoned FBI agent with a knack for unraveling financial conspiracies, didn't flinch. Instead, he let out a low, rumbling laugh that made the younger officer, Caleb Reed, pause mid-sentence. "You fellas have any idea what you just stepped into?" Ethan asked, his voice steady, almost amused, as the cuffs pinched his skin. The second officer, a wiry man with a badge that looked like it came from a costume shop, shot Caleb a nervous glance. Something was off, and the whole street could feel it. Within minutes, phones were out, neighbors filming, whispers spreading like wildfire. One phone call from Ethan was about to turn this petty HOA stunt into a spectacle that would leave grown men trembling and a community on the edge of a federal takedown. Ethan had been savoring what should have been a lazy Saturday morning. The Charlotte sun cast a warm glow over his backyard, where his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, was stacking wooden blocks into a makeshift castle. His wife, Olivia, sat at the patio table, her laptop buried under a pile of student essays. She was a high school history teacher with a knack for spotting trouble a mile away. The neighborhood buzzed with the usual weekend hum. Kids biking, a lawnmower droning, the faint sizzle of a barbecue. Ethan had chosen this quiet corner of Charlotte after a grueling year chasing corporate fraud across the Southeast. As an FBI agent with a reputation for dismantling corruption rackets, he craved these simple moments with his family. But trouble had a way of finding him, and it arrived that morning in the form of Vanessa Price, the HOA president who'd been terrorizing residents for years. Vanessa wasn't just strict, she was a tyrant. She'd driven the Nguyen family out of state with relentless fines, bankrupted a young couple for daring to challenge her, and bullied the elderly Thompson widow into selling her home at a loss. Her weapon? The HOA rulebook, wielded like a club to enforce her will. Ethan had been watching her for weeks, ever since he overheard her at a community meeting, whispering about special assessments with a contractor who reeked of kickbacks. His trained eye caught the signs immediately. Inflated invoices, phantom projects, a classic money laundering scheme disguised as neighborhood upkeep. Vanessa's mistake was assuming the unassuming dad in House 17 was just another pushover. She was about to learn that Ethan Ward wasn't like her other victims. The black SUV that rolled up at 9:15 a.m. should have tipped him off, but Ethan was already cataloging details. Tinted windows, plates that didn't quite match state-issued ones. The driver angled for a quick getaway. Caleb Reed stepped out, his police uniform a cheap imitation Velcro badge, polyester pants too tight for tactical work, boots that screamed discount store. Ethan's years in the FBI had taught him to spot fakes, and Caleb was a walking clearance sale. Then Vanessa emerged, striding across the lawn in designer heels, her leather folders screaming wealth, her gray hair pulled into a bun so severe it could have doubled as a weapon. Her smile was all predator, the kind that thrived on control. Ethan's gut tightened. He'd been tracking her for 2 months, piecing together her scheme. Now she'd brought the fight to his doorstep, and he was ready. "Mr. Ward," Vanessa said, her voice dripping with fake civility. "This is Officer Reed from Community Enforcement. We're here about your repeated HOA violations." Caleb puffed out his chest, hand resting on a pair of handcuffs that Ethan clocked as novelty grade, the kind that wouldn't hold a rowdy teenager. Non-compliant mailbox color, unauthorized garden decorations, and failure to meet community standards, Caleb read from a clipboard, his tone practiced but shaky. Ethan nearly snorted his coffee. The badge was plastic, the clipboard had a dollar store sticker, and Caleb's stance screamed TV cop wannabe. Lily paused her block building to stare, wide-eyed, while Olivia's head snapped up, her teacher's instincts sensing trouble. The absurdity hit Ethan like a wave. He was being arrested by a guy whose uniform looked like it might rip if he bent over, all because his mailbox wasn't the right shade of beige. "Mr. Ward, you're under citizen's arrest for willful violation of community standards," Caleb declared, snapping on the cuffs with a flourish he probably practiced in a mirror. Ethan didn't resist. He adjusted his grip on his coffee mug and gave Caleb a smile that had toppled fraud empires from Miami to Atlanta. This wasn't just a bad HOA day, it was a gift. Conspiracy, impersonation, intimidation, all handed to him on a platter, recorded by half the neighborhood. Mrs. Larson, the nosy retiree next door, had set up a lawn chair with a thermos of tea, ready for the show. Mr. Patel across the street was watering his plants, phone discreetly aimed. The crowd was growing, and Ethan was in his element. "You have the right to remain silent," Caleb droned, sweat beading on his forehead despite the mild June air. Ethan's smile widened. The irony of a fake cop reading Miranda rights to an FBI agent was almost too perfect. He made a mental note for his report. Impersonation of law enforcement, committed in front of multiple witnesses. Mrs. Larson's running commentary was better than a podcast, narrating every misstep. Caleb's cuffs looked like they came with a toy gun. Oh, and Ethan's still holding his coffee classic. The neighborhood was waking up to the farce, and Ethan was letting it play out. Each moment another nail in Vanessa's coffin. Caleb's world started to crack later that day at a diner 5 miles away, where he sat, burger untouched, scrolling through Google results on his phone. Ethan Ward, FBI Charlotte, painted a picture that turned his stomach to ice. Ethan wasn't just any agent, was the guy who dismantled a City Hall kickback ring in Raleigh, recovering $4 million and sending 9 officials to prison. His method? Let criminals dig their own graves while he watched, quiet as a ghost, until the feds swooped in with airtight cases. Caleb realized the arrest wasn't Ethan caught off guard, it was Ethan baiting him into felonies. The cuffs, the badge, the threats, they were evidence now, and Caleb had delivered them straight to a man who turned corruption into courtroom carnage. Back in the neighborhood, Ethan was still in those flimsy cuffs, Olivia's idea, to make better evidence photos. He chatted with neighbors like it was a block party, not an arrest. Mrs. Larson was now taking notes, grilling Ethan on FBI procedure like she was auditioning for a true crime show. Mrs. Thompson handed over a binder stuffed with years of Vanessa's harassment, fines for unapproved shrubs, threats over late fees. Other residents chimed in, stories of financial ruin and forced moves piling up. Ethan's mind raced, cataloging every detail for what was shaping into a landmark case. Vanessa's scheme wasn't just petty HOA nonsense, it was organized crime, a money laundering operation hiding behind community fees. Olivia, with her teacher's precision, organized the neighbors' accounts into a timeline that would make any prosecutor drool. The comedy peaked when Caleb's badge fell off, landing in Vanessa's prized azaleas. The crowd roared as he scrambled to retrieve it, his dignity as wilted as the flowers. Ethan sipped iced tea Olivia had brought out, watching Caleb's fake authority crumble. Whispers spread. "That's the FBI guy from the news. Didn't he bust that contractor scam?" Mrs. Larson, now the neighborhood historian, declared Ethan the Silent Reaper, a nickname from a Charlotte Observer profile about his knack for letting criminals expose themselves. Caleb's phone buzzed with Vanessa's frantic texts, demanding he finish the job. But Caleb was drowning in articles about Ethan's perfect conviction record: 12 years, 32 cases, no losses. The real hammer dropped when Victor Price, Vanessa's father and a fugitive Ethan had been hunting for months, stepped out of a sleek Mercedes in Ethan's driveway. Victor was no ordinary crook, run a 15-year fraud empire, using HOAs as fronts across the Carolinas. Ethan's investigation had traced his money trails, but finding him in Charlotte was a jackpot. Victor's cool demeanor faltered when he saw Ethan's FBI windbreaker, the neighbors' phones, the growing crowd. He tried to negotiate, hinting at secrets that could change everything. But Ethan's calm stare said it all. The trap was sprung. Federal raids hit Charlotte the next morning, June 13, 2024. 10 sites, HOA offices, fake contractor warehouses. Victor's gated estate were swarmed by FBI teams. Ethan coordinated from his front yard, his windbreaker a beacon of authority. Forensic accountants tore through Vanessa's records, uncovering $3 million in laundered funds. The neighborhood became a federal command post, with Mrs. Larson's living room a hub for witness statements. The Nguyen's, back from their forced exile, shared emails proving Vanessa's threats. Mrs. Thompson's binder was a goldmine, showing years of targeted harassment. Olivia ensured every story was documented, her organizational skills turning chaos into a prosecutor's dream. Vanessa and Victor faced trial in Charlotte's federal courthouse, their empire exposed as a web of fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy. Vanessa's mansion, bought with stolen fees, became a community center. Victor got life, Vanessa, decades. Caleb, who flipped on them, traded his fake badge for a security guard job, his testimony sealing the case. The neighborhood, once cowed, now thrived, bonded by their stand against corruption. Ethan's methods, patience, community trust became FBI training material. But Victor's final act chilled Ethan. During sentencing, he leaned into the microphone, smirking. "Agent Ward, you think this stops me? Check your backyard." Ethan's phone lit up with an alert, a break-in at his home. Victor's cryptic threat hinted at a hidden ace, something or someone still out there. What did Victor know that could threaten Ethan's family? Was his empire truly dead, or did he plant a seed that could unravel everything? Who else might be watching, waiting to strike? Share your thoughts below. Hit that like button if justice got your blood pumping, and subscribe for more stories where the quiet ones fight back. What's the wildest HOA drama you've seen? Let's hear it.